8 tiny signs that show you are doing well, even if no one notices. What if I told you that success isn't what you think it is? It's not the money in your bank account, the number of followers you have, or how many people recognize your name. It's not even the big achievements you've been chasing. Real success, the kind that actually matters, is quiet. It's subtle. It's found in the smallest shifts in how you think, how you react, and how you move through life. And the best part? You might already be doing better than you realize. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to want more, do more, be more. Social media floods us with highlights of people who seem to have it all together. And society tells us that unless we're grinding 24/7, we're falling behind. But Stoic wisdom, the philosophy practiced by some of the greatest minds in history, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, teaches us something different. It teaches us that real success isn't found in external achievements, but in internal mastery. The way you handle setbacks, the way you navigate emotions, the way you find peace in the middle of chaos, these are the real signs that you're on the right path. So, how do you know if you're actually doing well? Not in the way the world defines it, but in a deeper, more meaningful way. The truth is, the signs are often so small that they go unnoticed. You don't wake up one day with a trophy in your hands for learning to stay calm under pressure. No one throws a party because you've stopped caring about what strangers think of you. But these are the real markers of progress, the little victories that indicate true personal growth. If you've ever doubted yourself, wondering if you're on the right track, this is for you. You might not feel successful. You might think you're still miles away from where you want to be. But if these 8 tiny signs are showing up in your life, even in the smallest ways, you're doing better than you think. Let's dive in. Sign 1, you no longer react to every little thing. Think about the last time something annoyed you. Maybe someone cut you off in traffic, or a coworker made a passive-aggressive comment. A year ago, would that have ruined your day? Would you have fumed about it for hours, replaying the moment in your head, wishing you had said something clever in response? But now, you find yourself letting it go. You notice the irritation bubbling up, but instead of reacting, you take a breath and move on. That, right there, is growth. The Stoics believed that true power lies in controlling your own mind. Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, taught that we don't control external events, only our reactions to them. Most people go through life being pushed and pulled by their emotions, reacting to every inconvenience like a leaf tossed around by the wind. But you're learning to stay grounded. It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending things don't bother you. It's about recognizing that getting upset over every little thing is a waste of energy. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, reminded himself daily, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you understand that most things are not worth your outrage, you free yourself. This doesn't mean you never get angry, sad, or frustrated. It means you don't let those emotions control you. You don't fly off the handle over minor inconveniences. You don't let rude people dictate your mood. You understand that your peace of mind is worth more than winning a pointless argument. And when you reach that point, when you realize that silence is often more powerful than a reaction, you've gained something far more valuable than the temporary satisfaction of putting someone in their place. So if you've noticed that things that used to bother you now feel like background noise, take that as a sign. You're evolving. You're becoming stronger, more composed, more in control. And that is real success. Sign 2, you find joy in simple things. There's a moment in life, one that sneaks up on you quietly, when you realize you don't need much to be happy. Maybe it's the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the sound of rain against your window, or the first sip of coffee in the morning. You start to appreciate the things you once overlooked. Instead of constantly chasing the next big thing, you find yourself pausing to enjoy the small, ordinary moments that make life beautiful. This is something the Stoics understood well. Seneca, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about how people waste their lives chasing things they think will make them happy. Wealth, status, luxury, only to find that true contentment was always within reach. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor." In other words, you don't need more to be happy. You just need to want less. But this shift doesn't happen overnight. Society conditions us to believe that happiness is always somewhere in the future. The next promotion, the next relationship, the next purchase. But then one day, something changes. You start to realize that happiness isn't something you find. It's something you notice. You begin to feel grateful for the little things you once took for granted. And here's the irony. When you stop chasing happiness in external things, it starts to find you in unexpected places. You enjoy the simplicity of a quiet evening. You smile at the way a stranger holds the door open for you. You feel a deep sense of peace in moments that before would have seemed insignificant. This is the kind of wealth that can't be measured, the kind of success that doesn't come with a certificate. If you found yourself enjoying life in its simplest form without constantly looking for the next distraction, take a moment to appreciate that. Because that means you're not just existing, you're truly living. And that is something most people spend their entire lives searching for. Sign 3, you no longer chase approval from others. At some point, you stop caring so much about what people think. Not in a rebellious, I don't care about anything way, but in a quiet, liberating way. You realize that most people are too busy thinking about their own lives to scrutinize yours. You stop tailoring your decisions to impress others. You no longer seek validation from friends, family, or strangers on the internet. You start living for yourself. This is one of the most freeing shifts a person can experience, and it's deeply rooted in Stoic wisdom. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinion than our own." That's the paradox. People spend their entire lives worrying about how they are perceived, yet everyone is too focused on themselves to really notice. When you stop chasing approval, you gain something much more valuable: self-respect. You no longer post things online just to get likes. You don't make career choices to impress your parents. You don't dress or act a certain way just to fit in. You realize that external approval is a never-ending game with no real winner. No matter what you do, there will always be someone who disapproves. And when you stop playing that game, you take back your power. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. You still care about people. You just don't depend on their opinions to shape your worth. You understand that real confidence isn't built on applause, but on knowing who you are and being okay with it. And the best part? When you stop seeking validation, people respect you more. There's something magnetic about someone who is truly comfortable in their own skin. So if you've noticed that you no longer care as much about fitting in, if you're making decisions based on what feels right instead of what looks good to others, congratulations. You've freed yourself from one of the biggest traps of modern life. Sign 4. You can sit with discomfort without panicking. Most people run from discomfort. The moment they feel anxious, sad, or uncertain, they look for distractions, scrolling endlessly on their phones, binge-watching shows, numbing themselves with food or alcohol. But if you've reached a point where you can sit with uncomfortable emotions without immediately trying to escape them, that's a powerful sign of growth. Stoicism teaches that suffering isn't something to be feared, it's something to be understood and used for growth. Epictetus, who endured slavery and hardship, believed that we should train ourselves to tolerate discomfort rather than avoid it. He said, "Difficulties show a person's character. So, when trouble comes, think of yourself as a wrestler whom God, like a trainer, has paired with a tough opponent." In other words, challenges aren't punishments. They're tests that make you stronger. In modern life, this might look like sitting with uncertainty instead of immediately trying to control everything, feeling anxiety and accepting it instead of numbing it with distractions, facing a difficult conversation rather than avoiding it, embracing discomfort instead of running away from it. This doesn't mean you enjoy suffering. It means you don't let it break you. You understand that pain, stress, and hardship are part of life. You've learned to endure, to breathe through it, to see it as temporary. And with every challenge you face head-on, you become a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more unshakable. So if you've noticed that you're no longer running from discomfort, that you can sit with it, learn from it, and move forward, you're already ahead of most people. And that is a true sign of inner strength. Sign 5. You control what you can and let go of the rest. There was a time when you stressed over things completely outside of your control. Traffic, other people's opinions, the unpredictable twists and turns of life. You worried endlessly about outcomes, trying to force things to go exactly as you wanted. But now, something has shifted. You've learned to let go. You've started to understand one of the most powerful principles in Stoicism, the dichotomy of control. The idea that some things are within your power and some things simply aren't. Epictetus put it best. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control and some things are not. This is one of the hardest but most freeing lessons to learn. So many people waste their energy fighting battles they were never meant to fight, arguing over things they can't change, stressing over what might happen, trying to control people who will never change. But once you accept that your only job is to control yourself, your actions, your mindset, your response to life, everything becomes lighter. This shift doesn't mean you become passive. It means you focus your energy where it actually matters. Instead of wasting time worrying about whether someone likes you, you focus on being the best version of yourself. Instead of stressing over things that might go wrong, you prepare for what you can and adapt to the rest. Instead of trying to control how life unfolds, you trust yourself to handle whatever comes your way. And here's the thing. The moment you let go of control over things that don't belong to you, you gain a deep sense of peace. You don't get stuck in endless frustration. You don't carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. You simply do your best with what's in your hands and let the rest unfold as it will. If you've noticed that you don't stress over the little things as much anymore, that you've become better at letting go, accepting uncertainty, and focusing on what's truly in your power, then you're doing better than you think. You're practicing one of the greatest Stoic principles, and with it comes a life of far less stress and far more peace. Sign 6. You no longer get caught up in drama. There was a time when you couldn't resist. Gossip, petty arguments, negativity, it pulled you in like quicksand. You felt the need to defend yourself, to respond to every little comment, to get involved in things that had nothing to do with you. But now, you find yourself stepping back. You see the drama unfolding, but instead of reacting, you choose not to participate. You realize that most of it is just noise. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, reminded himself constantly, "You always have the option of having no opinion." He understood that most of the things people argue about are trivial, fueled by ego rather than reason. The more you engage in unnecessary drama, the more energy you waste. Think about it. How much time do people spend complaining about things they can't change? How often do they obsess over what someone else is doing? How much energy is lost in pointless conflicts? The truth is, most of it doesn't matter. And when you realize that, you free yourself. This doesn't mean you become emotionless or indifferent. It means you become selective about where you place your attention. You stop arguing with people who just want to be right. You stop engaging in negativity that drains you. You stop caring about who said what about whom. You understand that your time, energy, and peace of mind are far too valuable to waste on things that don't serve you. And here's the interesting part. When you detach from drama, you notice something. Peace. A deep, quiet peace that most people never experience because they're too caught up in distractions. You start to see life more clearly. You make decisions with a calm mind. You focus on things that actually matter. So if you've noticed that you no longer get dragged into every conflict, that you choose silence over pointless debates, that you value your peace over proving a point, take that as a sign. You're growing. You're choosing wisdom over impulse. You're learning one of the greatest Stoic lessons. Not everything deserves your attention. And that, in itself, is a victory. Sign 7. You prioritize character over comfort. There was a time when taking the easy route was tempting, cutting corners, avoiding difficult conversations, choosing short-term pleasure over long-term growth. But now, you notice something different. You're no longer looking for the easiest way out. Instead, you're choosing what's right over what's easy. You're making decisions that align with your values, even when they're uncomfortable. That's a sign of true growth. The Stoics believed that virtue, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance was the highest form of success. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." In other words, stop overthinking it. Just be the person you know you should be, even when it's hard. Think about it. How many times in life do we face small tests of character? The chance to tell the truth when a lie would be easier. The opportunity to stand up for someone when silence would be safer. The temptation to chase quick rewards instead of putting in the work for something meaningful. Most people give in to comfort. But if you're choosing character, if you're choosing discipline over laziness, integrity over deceit, patience over instant gratification, that's a powerful sign that you're on the right path. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It means that when faced with a decision, you think beyond just what benefits you in the moment. You consider your future self. You consider the kind of person you want to become. And when you live this way, something incredible happens. You start to respect yourself. You no longer feel the weight of guilt from taking shortcuts. You no longer look back with regret at the times you let fear or comfort dictate your actions. Instead, you feel a deep sense of alignment with who you are and who you're becoming. If you found yourself making choices based on principles instead of convenience, if you've started valuing discipline over indulgence, and if you care more about the person you're becoming than just momentary pleasure, that is a true sign of success. And it's something that most people never reach. Sign 8. You accept that life is fleeting and live accordingly. One of the most profound shifts in perspective happens when you truly grasp how short life is. Not in a vague philosophical way, but in a real gut-punching realization that every moment is slipping through your fingers. And instead of feeling fear, you feel clarity. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter. You stop delaying happiness, waiting for someday. You stop living on autopilot. The Stoics embrace this idea completely, calling it memento mori. Remember, you must die. To some that sounds dark, but to those who understand it, it's actually liberating. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He didn't mean to live in fear of death. He meant to use that knowledge to live fully, intentionally, without regret. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They put off their dreams. They hold grudges as if they have forever. They waste hours scrolling through distractions, numbing themselves to the reality that time is slipping away. But if you've started to live with urgency, not in a rushed way, but in a deeply intentional way, you are ahead of most people. What does this look like in daily life? You stop procrastinating on the things that matter. You make the call. You take the trip. You start the project. You let go of petty conflicts. You realize that holding on to resentment is just borrowing pain from your own limited time. You spend time on what truly fulfills you. You stop saying someday and start making time for the things and people that bring you joy. You stop fearing change. You embrace new experiences, knowing that life is too short to stay stuck in one place. If you've started living as if your time is precious, because it is, you are doing better than you think. This perspective will push you to take action, to live with meaning, to appreciate the little moments that so many people overlook. It's a sign that you're not just surviving, you're truly living. Conclusion: the Stoic way to true success. So, here's the truth. Success isn't loud. It doesn't come with fireworks or a standing ovation. It's not about wealth, fame, or achievements that the world applauds. Real success is quiet, subtle, and deeply personal. It's found in the way you think, the way you handle life's challenges, and the way you grow over time. If you've noticed even one of these signs in your life, take a moment to appreciate that. You're evolving. You're becoming wiser, stronger, and more in control of your mind. Maybe you don't feel like you've made it yet, but the fact that you've started to shift in these ways means you're on the right path. Most people will spend their entire lives chasing the wrong things, seeking approval, running from discomfort, getting caught up in drama, and letting every little setback control their emotions. But you're choosing something different. You're choosing wisdom over impulse, growth over comfort, and inner peace over external validation. And the best part, this isn't a race. There's no finish line. Stoicism isn't about achieving some final perfect state. It's about continually striving to be a little better today than you were yesterday. Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic thinkers, reminded himself daily, "Do what you were born to do." nothing else matters. So keep going. Keep applying these lessons. Keep focusing on what actually matters. Because if you continue down this path, you won't just feel like you're doing well, you'll know it. And that kind of success, the kind that comes from deep within, that's the only success that truly matters.